With her forehead pressing to Chuck's, Simone releases a long-drawn breath, allowing herself to drown in the bliss of this moment and what it means to her. How did she even get here? Roughly a year ago, she was prowling streets on the hunt for bounties, attached to low-life scum. Sleeping in hotels as she had no other choice, because although she could afford it, she never quite trusted those joints in the places she found herself. She constantly battled the unbearable weight in her head alone, while often surrounded by the substances that numb the ache in her body and soul. Although she managed to dig herself out of the worst, it would have taken a single trip to fall back down in that ugly pit. But before she was given that chance, a literal space princess walked into her life and took her by the hand. In a few, admittedly very eventful blinks of an eye, Simone's life finds itself sailing a new course. She's now sober, married, a mother, and despite the gun aiming at the head of the universe, she's happy. She'll likely live with the mental scars and burden she has accrued over her life for the rest of it. There will no doubt be very hard and even terrible times ahead that will rock her universe in the worst of ways. But at the end of the day, she'll remain for as long as the universe grants, and maybe even more, if she can get away with it. She has found her happiness in this woman. She has found her purpose in her family, and she has finally found that elusive self-love within herself. Seven told her about how much of an amazing person she is, and how her simple actions of helping someone in need lead to all this coming to pass. She's not spiritual, or really biased into the actual existence of karma, but she can't deny that looking back now, she's so proud of herself for not forgetting who she was under all the endured pain. Simone turns her head slightly to look at the framed image in Chuknuk's graspers. She's a Thatch, and will not be the last. Robert's half-blinking expression, wearing his mighty smile, breaks her heart while also reinforcing it. "I love you, Dad," she softly mouths to her father, before pulling away from Chak to look her over. "I love what you've done with your fur," she says, as she runs a hand through the top of Chak's fur. "And sick earrings." The Calip's eyes spark in extra glowing brilliance. "Thank you. This was all Jet's work. I apologize for having to wait to see each other at the last minute, but I felt it would be quite the surprise." Chak softly replies in a giggle, as she taps her spiked jewelry with her lower limbs. "I must admit it still feels really strange, but I like it very much." "It really suits you," the redhead chuckles, before finally looking to the wedding guests, smiling as she pulls Chak in for a few photo opportunities, despite fully knowing her makeup must be wrecked by now. Chak joins in, seeing Troy and the Grat helping out gather SJ and Jamie, so that Seven can head out first with Ted to check in with catering. "You know what also suits me?" she asks coyly. "My new name. Thank you so much for sharing it with me. Could you, say it? I'd love to hear you say it." Simone opens her mouth to happily oblige, but holds off as a devious thought comes to her. "I will, but not yet. Trust me," she says, while giving the Callie a gentle side squeeze. A little disappointed, but indeed trusting, Chuck gives a single nod. "Such a tease," she playfully grumbles. "Trust the process, hun," the redhead counters. "Oh, I will." Receiving a cue from Donna, Chuknuk cleared his throat loud enough to gather attention. "With the bonding ceremony complete, the newlyweds will now receive their marks of union. With many Terran traditions, the exchange of jewelry is what's most common and is usually done during the ceremony itself. But they have opted for another method that would take a bit long for everyone to just sit and watch. Please." As they do so, Donna will lead everyone to the reception area. The merriment will begin, and will be joined by Chuck and Simone momentarily, the old man announces. With curious acceptance, the bulk of guests leave their seats, and followed Donna back out and around to an area filled with seated tables, a bar, catering, and even an open dance floor with a hired local DJ. All but Choknuk and Jet depart. In fact, the woman remains because she previously volunteered to take on a particular honour. "Alright, you two, time to get out and dry off. Can't keep the people waiting," she informs the married couple. "I've already set up in the changing room, so don't worry about going far." Simone and Chuck walk up and out together, their lower halves drenched. But before they get to the elder woman, Chuknuk came up to them both. His colours are already shifting vibrantly red. "I'll be sure to place your father's photograph at your table," he assures, before opening his arms wide. "Now bring it in, you two." Before his laughter can complete, it's cut off by the newlyweds, accepting the hug without a moment's hesitation. "Thank you, Choknuk," Simone says with a warm tone. "Your officiation was splendidly perfect," Chuck agrees. "And thank you so much for walking with me. It felt so right for you to be there, just as I thought it would." "I couldn't think of a greater honour," the captain replies softly. "I have no doubt in my mind that you two will continue to take care of one another and your children for many, many years to come. In my long life, never once did I expect to be in this position, but I'm so glad to be here. Now, I'm off to make sure everyone is properly entertained." After a few moments longer in the tri-embrace, Chuknuk pulls away and heads off to join the others. "Alright, let's get going before more people try to steal some hugs," Jet chuckles, as she waves the two to follow. "Right. You did great work with Chuck, by the way," the redhead compliments. "Always happy to lend a young lady a helping hand. Also, I'd be crazy to pass up punking up a politician. A princess to boot," Jet replies in another chuckle, before leading the two away. Within the reception room, the guests sit where they please in the similarly iridescently lit room. However, the aroma of food is impossible to ignore, as the various scent promises of meats, pastas, desserts, and freshly baked buns call most to plate up real quick. "Well, that was an adorable ceremony," Ellie says, as she walks up to Bri and her family setting down together at a table. "It absolutely was. Short and sweet while having one heck of an atmosphere. It actually made me curious to see what a full-on Cali wedding looks like. Oh, would you like to sit with us?" Bri replies, as she motions the one free hand to the empty seat next to her, while the other gently bounces her child, who seems absolutely ready to start digging into the food on the plates. "Absolutely, if you're sure." Ellie hesitantly accepts, trying to play it as though she wasn't wishing for that precise offer. "Hey, as long as you don't mind a messy kid being right next to you," Bri chuckles with a nod. Also, Avery's there too. Juke, Bri's father, adds with a teasing smirk, not even looking up from the slab of buttery brisket he's cutting into. Bri rolls her eyes while her mother playfully smacks the man's arm, causing him to cackle like a cartoon villain. Smiling at the familial shenanigans, Ellie settles into the offered seat. "So, it must be either the most exciting or most boring job working for the ambassador," she says to spark conversation. "Stars! Would you believe me if I said it's both? Most of the time is data work, organising meetings, attending meetings, and constant research into every political sphere. But then suddenly there's... well, I'm afraid I can't really say exactly, but let's just leave it as things go from 0 to 100 in milliseconds," Bri explains, while she ensures her child's food is properly portioned for him. "Wow, though I guess I shouldn't be too surprised. It being in the realm of politics, after all," Ellie says. "What do you do for work, if you don't mind my asking?" Jen gently questions Ellie. Ellie purses her lips as she inhales a sigh. "Well, nothing at the moment. I just quit a very well-paying job over some moral conflicts," she answers with a wave of her hand. "Although we can survive off savings for a while, my grandmother and I are looking to relocate away from Vaporperna altogether, for somewhere that isn't as financially staining or difficult to secure work. Juke lifts his eyebrows as he chews. You got work on VP? Not bad. What work did you do? He asks. I worked as an internal incident manager for Valmore Enterprises, the woman replies. Ah, a Titan-based company. No wonder there was a moral dilemma, the man nods. Yeah, my grandmother did not approve it one bit, but the credits, location and benefits were just too good to pass up, Ellie responds, as she bites into a warm bun with a firm crispy shell, yet delicately soft interior. About your grandmother. Has she always expressed herself in that way? The Duke investigates with a clear, layered interest. Her whole life, as far as I'm aware. Apparently an ancestor of ours was one of the people on the outreach voyage that left Earth. I guess she's really proud of that, and I am too, to an extent. But it's not really something that we have been able to confirm, so I'm not investing myself too much in what's basically a family legend, Ellie replies. Both Jen and Bri share the same curiously excited expression towards Duke, who himself appears frozen for a few seconds, as he thought something over. Something wrong? Ellie inquires. As it so happens, I'm a lead cataloguer in the preservation department on Ares. I personally worked with relics of the outreach voyage on several occasions, including what remains of the ship itself. If you'd like, I can arrange for you and your grandmother to come visit it. Maybe do some tests to confirm if that legend of yours is true, he offers. No kidding. Well, sure, that would be amazing. Thank you so much. And I promise to not hold it against you if my family legacy is at all exaggerated, Ellie agrees, before peeking back at the entrance, wondering how long her grandmother is going to take to arrive with the brides. Nodrin and Miki sit close together at another table, practically entangled as they share a plate between them. Troy sits down next to them soon after, though he doesn't quite join the duo bundle, as he prefers a bit more space to eat. Across from them sit Sonla and Zekros, who both have far more protein stacked on their plates than anyone else in the venue. Being genuinely impressed, Troy raises an eye tuft at the nearly equal portions each of the reptiles indulge in, despite their difference in size. The barbecue's pretty damn good, ain't it? The Terran comments, after polishing off a rib bone. Yes, very, Miki immediately agrees. The mashed potatoes are very good as well. The potatoes? For sure. Glad they kept the skins on, Troy replies, before eyeing the large dino. Hope the food makes up for the kidnapping, he jests. Zekros chuckles nervously. Yeah, it's great. It's, not what I expected to be doing today, that's for sure, he says with a slight shrug. But I have no complaints so far. Good to hear. I'm no stranger to a sudden shift in life direction stuff. Have you two talked with Thorn yet? You know, to work out arrangements and stuff, the Terran inquires. Sonla nods rapidly. Yes, but he said we'll speak in detail tomorrow. Zekros is a very good pilot, she informs. The Zartuk's mane of feathers fluff out a little bit. Well, I'm an alright pilot, I guess, he sheepishly clarifies. That's not what your sister told me, Sonla chuckles. Well, I'm sure she was just, hyping me up as much as possible in order for you to, take me on, Zekros counters. Oh, I took you on all right, Sonla whispers in a devious hiss. Widening his eyes, Zekros cleared his throat, hoping no one else heard that, along with hiding other strong feral feelings that this setting was not appropriate for. Meanwhile, Brandy is sitting with Jackie, Donna and their twins. Yep. Not only did I play matchmaker with Troy and the Grat, but managed to help out Arthur Rook to snag that guy. Don't know if it'll work out, but hey, maybe I found my true calling, Brandy jokes. No kidding. Must be pretty dangerous being a bounty hunter, Donna points out, You're a bounty hunter? Like in the movies? Jan asks in excitement. Brandy laughs slightly and scratches at the side of her neck. Kinda. Like the movies, I mean. Though the movies don't really show the more boring aspects of the job. As for how dangerous it is, yeah, it's very dangerous at times. But the people I work with are very capable, and I'm no slouch either, she says. When do you plan on leaving that life behind you? Jackie inquires. To that, Brandy shrugs. Whenever I feel the need to, I suppose. Right now, I like what I'm doing and trust the folks I'm doing it with. Unless that changes, or life tells me that it's time to move on elsewhere, then I'm not moving on from it, she answers honestly before smiling. How about you two? Do you plan on starting in this colony forever, or do you have thoughts of eventually going elsewhere? Donna and Jackie share a look as they mumble, as if to gauge who should be the first to speak. We certainly have ideas about moving to Ares or possibly York when the girls are older, but nothing quite set in stone, Donna finally answers. Yeah, Colony Life is far from glamorous, but this place is special to the both of us. If a big opportunity came our way that would be better to plan for the girls' futures, then we'll probably have more serious talks about it, but as of now, we're just fine. Our friends, family and culture are here, you know, Jackie adds. Well, if we're available and you find yourself moving, give us a call. We got plenty of storage for things, and we'd be cheaper than the standard transport companies, Ellie offers, before drinking deep in her Terran champagne. As she did so, she eyes another table, where the two Watars speak with Dr. Finn and Seven, while they watch over SJ and Jamie. Then to another, where Thorn, Chuknook and Ted seem to be in a heated laughing match with poor Devon across from them. Wyala tilts his head at Finn. You don't say, he hisses in curiosity, before looking at SJ, then Jamie. Indeed. After a safely monitored first meeting, Simone Jr. has managed to not be as affected as others would be by Jamie's presence. I suspect that is something to do with the still developing adolescent mind, not quite grasping the full effects. Honestly, I'd say the pair have gotten along rather well, despite the circumstances. I don't believe that Simone Jr. has even shown the slightest bit of actual defensive aggression, at least not the kind that's not expected from young siblings, Ben assures. And Jamie here has not shown carelessness? We were far durable people, even in youth, but if I am to be honest, that tale seems strong, Quial asks. It most certainly is, but I assure you that Jamie does have an understanding of his capabilities, and has a good sense of mindfulness, Finn says, as he turns to see the Manarian tearing a soft loaf of garlic bread, and a tender brisket to shreds, with his hand and tail claws. Food being the current exception. Wyala refocuses on SJ, and addresses them directly. How has your voice been coming in? He asks kindly. Looking up from their plate, SJ nods before opening their mouth. Good, they report excitedly. That's splendid, Wyala replies with an amused hiss. Are things going well between you and your sibling? He then asks. SJ nods again. Yes, no worry, they report assuringly. Good, Wyala nods back, seemingly satisfied with that. Suddenly, both of Jamie's plumes twitch, and he is the first to turn his head to look, before anyone else to see his parents' arrival. Dressed in more dance-safe dresses that match the previous themes, Simone and Chak step into the area, prompting the Mick DJ to switch it up to more celebratory tunes. Jet walks past them with Shroom by her side, giving her granddaughter a thumbs up that they're named in the newlyweds. People start to clap at the two, but it only grows in intensity when Chak and Simone lift their held hands up together to show luminescent glowing white tattoo bands around one of their fingers. Simone's is on the traditional ring finger, while Chax is on her outer larger digit. They stride in further together and are met with several congratulations and incoming embraces. After a short while, the pair are allowed to plate themselves up and move to their special rectangular table that has gifts on one far end and currently barren on the other. Right in the centre, however, is where they are guided to sit and eat. With the perfect view to take in all present, Simone can only overlook them all for so long before her eyes fall back onto her wife. Her wife. Her beautiful, wonderful, amazing, impossibly perfect wife. Chuck's constantly gleaming red eyes look back and smile. "I love you," she says to the redhead. "I love you too," Simone replies softly. As they almost forget to continue eating, the room's music goes down in volume, and Donna stands with a raised glass. "Thank you all for coming, everyone. With the brides here, I think it's the perfect time to go around for toasts or words you wish to speak in regards to this very special union. No pressure. This is just for anyone who has something to say. If you don't mind, my husband Jackie and I will be the first to do the honors," she announces, motioning for her other half to stand with her as she turns towards the couple. "Chuck, thank you so much for finding Simone and bringing her back into our lives. And thank you for so openly inviting us into yours. Planning today has been a wonderful honor, and I can only hope that this is far from the last celebration we all share, whether it be birthdays, holidays, or just because," she says before nodding to Jackie. "Same, of course. We hope you'll take good care of our middle school bully, you hear?" he chuckles before getting more serious. "She's like a sister to us, and by extension, so are you. You both will always be welcome here and will always have us standing by your side. Simone, I'm so proud of you. We all are. And regardless of where you settle, I can't wait to watch both our sets of kids grow up and thrive in the universe," he finishes. With a clapping, the two sit down, only for the Grat duo to stand up and nearly trip over their chairs in the process. Miki clears her throat and exposes her row of sharp teeth in a wide smile. "Although the circumstances of how we met weren't pleasant in most regards, I am still very happy to have met you both. The sky itself fell over our world, threatening our people's security and sovereignty. Many fell in the conflict that followed, and it saddens me greatly that they had to make such a sacrifice. But even so, I am so thankful to live to see the day my people ascend into the stars and embark on our greatest adventure as a people. I consider you both very dear friends, and have nothing but the best of hopes for the future. But regardless, we will be there to make sure it's a happy one," she says, before passing the attention to Nodrin. "Indeed. You both have our loyalty, admiration, and gratitude." A few chuckles ring out as some think Nodrin was going for a pun. "In large part, you two saved our people, and ensured that they not only succeed but thrive among the stars. Not only our people as a whole, but for Miki and I as well." Nodrin turns to look at Troy and reaches a hand out to him. When accepted, they look back to the brides. "Miki and I would not have met Troy without you, and we are forever grateful," they say, while giving Brandy a quick, thankful smirk. While they sit down, Bri takes a turn, after handing Avery off to her mother. "Well, I'd love to explain to everyone just how incredible and insane you two are, but I'd be fired in a heartbeat if I did," she says, earning a few chuckles and nods from those who very much understand. "But I will say this. Simone, you and I have only reconnected very recently, after years of being apart and living very different lives. There came a time, however, that I had to choose whether or not to fully trust you in a very insane situation. I asked myself a million questions about your character, and if I could risk investing into what my gut was telling me at the time. But then I thought back to when we first met. You were so damn scary when I first saw you. I swear, I nearly turned tail and quit the academy before I even started. But after opening your mouth, you showed me and my parents what kind of person you were. You even went out of your way to make a girl like me feel as comfortable as possible. Bri turns to the rest of the room, gently pointing at the redhead. She pretended to not know what bed she wanted to claim, although she clearly already did, just so I can pick the one I felt the most comfortable with. That's the kind of person Simone Thatch is. Even in the smallest of ways, she acts on her kind heart. She always had throughout the time I've known her. So when it came down to it, I knew exactly whether she was worth trusting or not. Wiping a tear from her eye, Bri looks back at Simone. You deserve nothing but happiness for the rest of your life, and I truly believe you found the person that will help make that happen, she finishes, as Ellie stands to take her place. Yeah, that person was almost me, Ellie shrugs, in a blunt, humorous manner. For real though, when I joined these two for a shopping trip, Chaka was the best wingwoman a girl could ask for, only to realize later that she was doing so completely obliviously. To her credit though, she had me rooting for her more than myself by the time we all parted ways, and I'm so damn proud to stand here and see you two so happy with each other. I'm also so honored to have you both as friends, and that you've invited me to share in your bestest of days, she wraps up. 7 erected themselves higher on their four-wheeled legs. Ceremonial acts such as this are so very fascinating. In such a big declaration, you two promise something so very simple, that you are to be metaphorically and legally bonded in a unified relationship to share together. It's just as amusing as it is beautiful. Each and every one of our lives are limited in time and experience, and yet many choose to give much more of that to one another. Your most precious resource, beyond rare minerals and sustenance, you've decided to spend on one another. I see this as absolutely wonderful. I relish witnessing it whenever I can. Oh, and Dave says hi, they state, before sleeping back down. Chuknook seems to consider saying something, as in his nature, but having already spoken to the two in private, he's satisfied. When no one else takes the chance, Thorn stands up. Not gonna lie, Simone. After you parted ways from me and my crew, I was real worried about you. Although I believed that you had it in you to pull through and dig your way out of the rut you fell in, I didn't know if you would. But look at you now, hitched, sober, and saving the damn universe in fucking style. Being proud ain't enough to describe what I feel. Even I couldn't see this as a possible outcome for you. It's the stuff of legends. You both in your own right are legends. A space princess seeking to liberate her people and get justice for her family, and the backcluster lady who earned the highest honor a Terran can receive from the Union President herself. A medal that very few throughout our history among the stars have earned, and without a doubt you fucking earned it. You both have my respect and my loyalty, and I'd run to hell and back twice for you. Believe that. No matter what fire arises on the horizon, he declares, before raising his glass up to them and drinking the entirety of its contents. Everyone with a beverage follows suit and cheers as the music picks back up to invite all to the dance floor.